Hey, these brothers, sending y'all good vibes, man, on this first day of the second half of the year, man. Brothers, if we can just become men, right? And I'm speaking to all of us. If we can become men that not only move in a certain way, but teach our sons and our grandsons to move in a certain way, every single thing that we know about our success would change. And what I mean is, if we could become men that train ourselves to run towards fear, to run towards pain, to run towards discomfort, right? Man, think about how much our lives would change, brothers. Think about how much our lives would change, man. It would change everything. And I'm talking about all walks of life, man. Think about the last 12 months or 6 months you've been in the gym. You've been going to the gym religiously. You know what I'm saying? You might walk out with a bead of sweat, man. You might walk out with a little, you had a little workout, man. But what would happen if you said, you know what? I still had a little gas in me. I still had a little juice in me, man. I could have stuck around for another 20, 30 minutes. I could have stuck around and went to that dark spot, man, and put more reps in, put more weight in. You know what I'm saying? What would happen if we just constantly went towards pain, bro, or discomfort? You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm talking about all walks of life. Because you got to understand, I don't know if it's just society, man, or men have gotten a little softer due to technology, or probably a combination of many things, man. But men just don't go as hard as I would say our fathers and forefathers went, right? You know what I'm saying? Think about even when it comes to the bag, bro. I mean, boss man might say, hey, you know what, man? Anybody want overtime this week? Hey, you can have at it. Get, I know it's a holiday coming up. I know everybody wants to go to the beach and go to the parties, but overtime is available. What if you said to yourself, hey, you know what, man? Let me go ahead and get this bag instead of spending all weekend sipping malt liquors and playing Madden. What if I got this bag instead of want to be pillow talking and cupcaking with my girl this weekend, or hanging with my boys, or just kind of kicking back doing nothing, man? What if I sought out pain? What if I sought out just that darkness? And when I say that darkness, I'm talking about that area that most men don't entertain, bro. Like, in my opinion, not in my opinion, I know for a fact, like the thing that separates, and I use the word common men. Y'all gotta understand, when I use the word common men, I'm not saying greater than or less than. When I say common men, I'm simply saying men that haven't been awakened yet to go toward their greatness, to travel that path, right? The thing that separates common men from those in the know is that a small group of men are aware that, hey, you know what? I can have more if I go against the grain and do what very few men are doing. You know what I'm saying? Like if you haven't read, I'm gonna drink water before I get to. If you haven't read Robert Frost, his poem called "The Road Not Taken," this is what he was speaking of, man. If y'all have heard me say it before, man, I was forced to learn that poem in the 7th or 8th grade. This is what Frost was speaking of. You haven't read that poem, read that poem. In other words, Frost was saying, man, there are going to be many paths in life. Like from day one to the day you die. Every single day, man, there are going to be many decisions and choices and paths you can take. But Frost said, man, what I did was I took the road less traveled. I looked and saw what everybody else was doing. I looked and saw what the result that everybody else was getting, and I chose to go a different route. And I love how he ended that poem. And at the end, he said, and that has been the difference. He said that has made the difference, or something like that. Bars. In other words, Frost said, that's why I'm Robert Frost and they're not. You know what I'm saying? He kept it 100, man. So we have to be men that find that spot, man, in our lives, that find those paths that have not been traveled or have been traveled the very, very least, and travel those paths. Because that's where our greatness is, man. That's where our freedom is, bro. That thing that you desire It's down that path that you're resisting, man. Everybody sees all paths. Everybody has 360 degrees around their life. There are some paths, man, you're closing a blind eye to. You're saying, you know what? I understand that greatness is over there. You know what I'm saying? But you got to understand this. You got to ask yourself, why is it that people don't take those paths? You got to ask yourself, why is it that people, when they know it's there, when they know the result they're desiring is at the end of that road, why don't they take it? I would just say, if I had to just speak in general term, broad speaking, I would say it's generally because of fear. Men fear the darkness, right? But the thing is, man, you have to really understand what fear is. You really have to understand what fear is, man, because fear is simply an indicator. You know what I'm saying? Fear doesn't necessarily mean everything is bad. You got to understand, fear is simply an indicator. Now, of course, man, if I start hearing gunshots, of course I'm ducking and I'm looking around because I'm like, you know what? There's danger. So fear can represent danger. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't always represent danger. And to be honest, the thing you're fearing, man, it's just a matter of you looking at it different. You know what I'm saying? I was dating this girl, man. Baddie, right? Thick sister, right? Fine, cute. And every single time a drop of rain would hit the ground, this chick would start getting a little, little antsy, right? If it started pouring down, she started kind of like, looking at the sky. If it started lightning and thundering, oh man, she was tripping. And the thing is, after we talked about it, she was like, well, hey, I've been in a couple of tornadoes in my life. I've been in some bad ones, man, where buildings were coming down and roofs were, I've been in some. So I was like, you know what? I understand it, right? And I can remember one night, bro, we would sleep. It was probably 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. And man, a storm was coming through the Metroplex, bro. A bad one. I'm talking about raining sideways. I'm talking about hail hitting the windows. I'm talking about thunder, lightning, the whole shebang. And I can remember I was tired, man. And the last thing I remember is those sirens were going off. Like, hey, a tornado's here. Why? And I can remember, bro, she was freaking out. And the whole time, I'm sitting there fading. I'm sitting there fading, not trying to go to sleep because I'm like, to me, storms and tornadoes and Category 5, all that stuff represents something different to me. In other words, we can have the same fears as somebody else, and it might be a justified fear. But it's all about the way we look at things, because fear is not always bad. A lot of times, to me, fear represents like a change. Fear represents a different frequency. Like for me, when if there's a bad storm coming, man, to me, I feel like, and this is just me, and it might be corny, I feel like my life, I'm doing something, my meditation, or, that I'm bringing such a change that the world is showing me of that change. Like for some reason, I love thundering and lightning. You know what I'm saying? I've never feared that. I almost welcome it. And the reason is, man, and I don't want to go down this story. In a past life, I know y'all saying soul tripping. In a past life, I passed away in a hurricane, and not a hurricane, but a tornado. I've had this just reoccurring dream, man, probably about 20 times since I've been a kid. And one day I was like, man, I believe that's a former life I had where I was. Anyway, long story short. Anyway, so I don't look at it as fear. I look at it as change, because when I look at that past life, when I lost myself, when I lost my life in that storm, it just represented a change. So it's like if a storm comes and I pass away, then it was just my time to go, right? But you gotta understand, a storm. But fear just represents. It simply just represents you're outside of your norm. It simply represents that you're outside of your norm. So a lot of times when we get fear, or a lot of times when we look at a path to take in our lives, a journey we can take, and we're saying, hey, you know what? I put one foot and it felt funny. It's supposed to feel funny. It's supposed to feel funny because the frequency over there is different than this frequency. So the first thing is, man, we gotta understand what that fear is. It's kind of like when you start a new job, right? You've had a million jobs in your life. You start a new job, man. That whole first day, that whole first week, man, your stomach is just turning. You might be doing the exact same thing that you were doing at the last job, but you feel a level of discomfort. It's like there's no danger. You're just outside of your old element. You know what I'm saying? You're just outside of your old element. Kind of like when somebody says, it's kind of like when somebody says, like if you're at a wedding or something, or if you're at some kind of event, and somebody asks you to, hey, give us a word, brother. Toast to the man, best man, or give us an impromptu word, man. A lot of people will mentally shut down. A lot of people will mentally shut down, but a lot of people don't understand that if they can recognize what that is and step past that and speak their truth, bro, you have no idea how many chambers of the world open up when you can take what's inside of you and voice it. It's huge, man. And it's crazy because I can get on this camera now, or I can get in front of a crowd of, hell, I don't care if it's 2 or 2 million, and speak my truth. But there was a point in time where I couldn't. I can remember I used to go, matter of fact, right up the road, I used to go to Kilgore College, man, right out of high school. And I took a speech class. And we wasn't probably but a couple of weeks deep. Matter of fact, we wasn't deep at all because we were still to the point where you could drop the class and get your money back or get your credit back or change or whatever it was, right? And I can remember in speech class, the teacher said, okay, everybody got to give a 2-minute spiel over, and she gave us like a handful of topics. And man, I came in the next day, bro, and I froze up. I said, I can't, there's no way I can do it. And I got up, gave him my paperwork, and walked out. I said, I can't take this class. I can't speak my truth. In other words, I understood that if I took what was inside of me and moved in it and went past that barrier, I was like, bro, it's something different. I didn't have anybody telling me, hey, bro, no, you're opening up the windows of heaven when you do that, man. So understand that the paths we see in our life that are going to offer us greatness, man, understand what it is. Understand what it is, man. What we have to do, brothers, is what we all have to do, man, is understand, or we have to start just coming into union with the things we really desire and being willing to cross those thresholds of the unknown. It's really what it comes down to, bro. And all of us have them. You know what I'm saying? Pause and think about the things in your life right now that you're turning a blind eye to. The things that you know you could be doing to tap into your greatness, but you're choosing not to. All of us have it, man. You gotta understand that, bro. Like a lot of brothers watching this video right now, it's a possibility that you should be the next MLK or JFK. You should be speaking your truth right now, but you're scared to cross a threshold. You're probably supposed to be inventing something. You probably have this idea, this app, right? This way of doing something, this technology in your mind right now. This way to utilize all this AI. Shout out to my brother Joe Curl, who's making a power move, man, to kind of to move in this AI, to show brothers how to utilize this AI. That's what I thought about. You probably have some idea in your mind right now, and you're saying, you know what, man, just because it's dark over there, just because there's pain over there, just because I gotta work on this when I get off of work every day, just because I won't be able to go on vacation for the next few summers because I'm gonna be working on this, just because I won't be able to date, just because my girl gonna be mad because it's gonna take so much of my life, I'm not gonna do it. Just because it's gonna require me to pay the money I'm spending on cheap liquor and cigarettes, I gotta put it toward my craft now. There's gonna be a pain associated with that. I don't want to do it. I know my greatness is over there. I know my freedom is over there. A lot of y'all that say, man, I'm tired of working for Sears and Roebuck. You know exactly what you need to do to walk away. But it's that comfort, man. It's that comfort, like, man, you know what? All I gotta do is go in tomorrow, put another 8 hours in, do that for 2 weeks, and I'm gonna get paid. That's much easier, man, than me staying up reading these books. That's much easier, man, than me going out starting that brick and mortar. It's much easier, man. So like I'm saying, if we can become men, that not only learn to move toward that pain, but teach those behind us to go toward that pain. Bro, you talking about changing generations now, man. You're talking about changing generations, bro. See, one thing we got to do, man, and I'm really speaking to, well, I'll say this. No, I'm not speaking to just this, because normally when I say this, I'm speaking to men about 40 years old and up. I've always said that once you get about 40 years old, you have to start thinking different. A responsible 40-year-old man, he's not only thinking about himself anymore. He's not only thinking about, okay, what can I achieve? What can I obtain? What can I, he's thinking about the people that will exist when he's long gone. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even talking about just his immediate family. I'm not just talking about your sons and your daughters and your granddaughters. I'm talking about, you got to start thinking about mankind. Like what can I do? What can I offer this world that's still going to be helping somebody when I'm long gone? Purpose. Living different. So I used to say that for 30 to 40-year-old men and up, but now I think that every man must live like that. Because you don't know when your time is up. If you're over 25 years old, you need to have a legendary mindset. A legendary mindset. What can I do? What can I offer? What path can I take that may be painful that will help my brothers 200 years from now avoid the same things that I've gone through? You're a different man, you living like that, bro. You're cut from a whole different cloth when you move like that. If I'm lying, I'm dying, bro. If I'm lying, I'm dying. You got to be a man that wants to fix this world, man. I like rolling with fixers, man. With guys that are trying to, for example, man, and I don't tell too many people this. Really, I don't tell nobody this. I ain't but one or two brothers to know this. I have this thing, man. I have this thing about like, and I don't want to say finding the cure, but I have this thing about overcoming cancer, right? I don't have cancer. Let me be clear. But I've lost a lot of people in my life, man. I've lost uncles with an S. I've lost a lot of prominent men in my life. I've lost a lot of women friends in my life, right? I've just lost a lot of people, and all of us have, to cancer. It's taken out like percent of people, and I'm like, bro, I'm just I don't want to say obsessed, but I love hearing people talk about natural cures for this and ways you can do this and how parasites are really XYZ and all these other things that are over the counter that are, it's a whole nother conversation. But I love that conversation because I want to be the man that says, I want to be the guy in my family that, maybe when I'm long gone, like my great whatever can say, hey, you know what? Uncle Soul, hey, he did this, he tapped into this. So now our family is immune to this. Like nobody in our family gets diabetes. Nobody in our family dies from cancer anymore because he went down a path. He started doing something that was greater than himself. And it made him a different character. That's all I'm saying, man. All I'm saying is if we want to be men of the upper echelon, if we want to be men that are cut from a different cloth, that are of a different character, man, we have to be men that go down those paths that everybody else resists. Everybody else resists the knowledge. Everybody else resists the extra reps. You know what I'm saying? We have to identify our weaknesses, man. The doors we have closed, open them doors, man, and run down those halls, bro. It's going to change our life. It's going to change the lives of those that are watching us. You think your sons and daughters and nieces and nephews aren't watching you and say, hey, you know what? I see Pops going against the grain. I see Pops doing something that very few people are doing. Whether he wins or loses, I see him doing it. You know what I'm saying? So if not for yourself, man, do it for those behind you. Do it for those behind you, man. At the end of the day, bro, it comes down to this. It comes down to this. You have to be the type man. I'm gonna say it like this, and I mean this. You have to be the type man that wants to be him. You have to be the man that wants to be him. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just talking about him to walk around and beat your chest now. I'm talking about him in the long haul. Him even when you're gone. You know what I'm saying? Like when I do pass away, whenever that is, man, I don't want people saying, hey man, y'all remember Soul? Soul had this shiny car. Y'all remember them shiny shoes Soul used to wear? Y'all remember that big crib Soul had? Y'all remember that thick chick Soul used to be walking around with? I don't want nobody saying none of that stuff, man. I want y'all to be saying, man, y'all remember Soul? Soul was always going against the grain. Soul was always pushing the envelope, man. He was always going down dark alleys that very few men would go down. He didn't know if he was going to be able to come out of there and tell this story. That's what I want men to be saying. Like Soul chose to be him. Soul chose to live a life without fear. You know what I'm saying? Soul chose to do things that his generation had never done, that his father and grandfather never done. Just so he could plant his flag so those behind him could say, you know what? There's a bigger and better way we can live. That's what I want y'all saying about me. So, man, you gotta wake up, man. You gotta wake up and just start saying, you know what, bro? Like I may never be the smartest man. I may never be the richest man. I may never be the tallest man. I may never have the six-pack. But I'm going to be him. I'm going to be the man that can look 360 degrees around my life and say, you know what? What path do I want to take? Oh, I want to be this? Oh, I want to be this kind of man? Oh, I want to live in this kind of place? I want to make this kind of money? I want to have this level of freedom? And instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to turn a blind eye because it's going to be pain associated with that. Like, nah, let me just stay over here and do what I do for the last 20, 30, 40 years and just ride out. I'm going to say, you know what, let me go down this path. Oh, nobody's going with me? I'll go by myself. I'll do it alone. And if I don't make it back, I died in the process of trying to conquer that mountain. That's what I want to be. That's what I want to be remembered by, man. As far as like my son and the people in my family, I want people to say, Pops was gonna go against the grain. Oh, he was gonna make it do what it do, win or lose. We got to be being to go against the grain, man, because I'm telling you, our greatness is on the other side of it, man. Our greatness is on the other side of it, brothers. So analyze your life, man. Analyze your desires and ask yourself, why is it you desire that? And ask yourself, is it the highest level of living for you? You know what I'm saying? Like ask yourself, the thing that I'm working towards, the thing that I'm meditating on, the thing that I'm praying for, is it really what I'm desiring, or do I just fear that unknown room back there with my riches, with my achievements, that the things I really want to achieve, the things I really want to do, the mountains I really want to climb? Am I just kind of acting like that door isn't over there? That's where your greatness is, brothers.